to Leitner. Puts it up.
You're listening to the Culture State Podcast.
Get ready. Woo!
Yes, sir. It's Thanksgiving week. If you're listening to us on time, the Culture State Podcast is here to give you a feast of a good show. And speaking of feasts, my man Dennis.
Feast. Yes, you can always feast on a good Papa Murphy's pizza every Tuesday, $10.99. Large pizzas from Papa Murphy's. Take it home, pop it in your oven. You know what? You might be tired of those Thanksgiving leftovers. Go enjoy some Papa Murphy's pizza.
If your Thanksgiving leftovers last you all the way to Tuesday anyway, you probably should throw them away. But then, when the next Tuesday comes around, hey, head over to Papa Murphy's, man. Make it happen. That's right.
Papa Murphy's. Give them a follow on Twitter and Instagram at Papa Murphy's Pizza. Papa Murphy's, change the way you pizza. Now, Chris, here in the state of North Carolina, excuse me, I'm thinking about this Papa Murphy's pizza that's got me all choked up.
Yeah.
Here in North Carolina, unfortunately, we don't have professional baseball in terms of Major League.
Yeah.
We don't have LMB teams. We have pro hockey teams with the Hurricanes, pro basketball, the Hornets, pro football with the Panthers. But when it comes to Major League Baseball, you got to drive 7 hours to Atlanta or you got to drive 7 hours up to DC. But this state is full of just fantastic minor league baseball teams that are spread throughout the entire state. And honestly, Chris, a lot of communities are built around these teams.
Question. It takes you 7 hours to drive to DC?
Have you been the traffic around DC? Have you been around the traffic around DC?
I have. But I mean, Raleigh is like 3 hours from DC. But then, once you hit traffic, probably like 4 hours. Or am I driving super fast?
You must
never heard
flying because it takes
3 hours. I've never heard of anybody
Richmond, but that's fine. But that's fine, Chris.
I've never heard of anybody, I wouldn't say 3 hours from DC, 4 hours from DC. Because it was 5 from the Triad. So from here, it's got to be 4 with the traffic.
You drive faster than me, clearly. But
you must be driving way under the speed limit, man. I know it's not taking 7 hours.
That is a different conversation. Okay, that's a different conversation.
7 hours to Atlanta, I can see that from Raleigh. I can definitely see that. But to DC, actually, I'm gonna put that in my maps. But yes, you're right. I just want to see what it says. But no, you're absolutely right, man. There's so much baseball around here that you can see. It says 4 hours and 19 minutes. Anyway, so much great baseball around here, as you mentioned. And I still need to go to a Durham Bulls game. I still didn't get a chance to go. I need to go to a Durham Bulls game because it's probably, I keep hearing it's the best baseball experience that you'll have. And if that's the case, then it's got a high bar because, if you've ever gone to, it's a very fun atmosphere at the Greensboro Grasshoppers. It's a very fun atmosphere at the Winston-Salem Dash. The High Point Rockers are starting to build their culture. They're a newer team. They just came around a couple of years ago. And so if it's the best baseball experience, then, it's got a high bar. So you can definitely see some great baseball in the state of North Carolina for sure. I'd love to go to a Charlotte Knights game. We need to do a Culture State tour of all of the minor league baseball stadiums around here.
I'm 100% for it, Chris. And you can also include the summer wood and bat college leagues like the Coastal Plain League. The Holly Springs Salamanders right here in the Triangle compete in that as well. So there are so many different levels of baseball that you can just enjoy. And that's one of the fun things about minor league baseball is that minor league baseball, for me, just minor league sports in general, truly lean into the community. Like, for example, like the New York Yankees, the Yankees, people are going to come. They're an international brand. But when you talk about the Durham Bulls or the Charlotte Knights or the Greensboro Grasshoppers, those are built in the community where people in the surrounding area are always going to be there. They're always going to be part of it. The rosters are always going to be constantly changing. But people are like, you know what? It's the Bulls. It's part of my community. I'm going to be there. They do fun community events for us, whether it's stuff for kids, fireworks shows, whatever it is. It's a fun family event that everyone can go enjoy. And that's something that I appreciate about minor league sports is just the fact that they really do dive into communities. And here in North Carolina, we got so many great ones, and minor league baseball really is a key part of a lot of it.
and you never know who's going to come through. Like back
Yeah.
in the day for Greensboro, back when they were the Greensboro Bats, Derek Jeter played here for you,
Yeah.
and so it's, one of those things where if you were going to Greensboro Bats games over at War Memorial Stadium that was over there next to A&T before they got the new stadium downtown and became the Grasshoppers, that was something that was like, hey, I can always say that I saw, Derek Jeter play in Greensboro before he blew up. And also, speaking of the community, these guys are often not in an area for a long time. You might get, moved around so many different places. So a lot of times they have volunteers from the community that allow these guys to stay in their homes.
Yes.
While they're there in that community. They may only, let's say you got called up from single A to double A. So all of a sudden you've got to pack your stuff up and go to this town that you've probably never been to before. Mm-hmm. And, a home is probably waiting there for you. It's going to be hard for you to get an apartment because 3 weeks later you could be called up to AAA.
Yeah,
and go somewhere else.
Down. Yeah, there's
and so yeah, or even traded. And so when you talk about being a part of a community, those folks are legit a part of a community. So shout outs to the baseball players that make it happen. It's a tough road to get to the majors. But a lot of guys make their stops through the state of North Carolina in some form or fashion, whether they've played here for a team or they end up playing a game here. And then we have some great baseball players from the state of North Carolina, including our guest today, who's with the Chicago White Sox organization. His name is Brian Goodwin.
Yeah, Brian grew up in the Rocky Mountain areas where he came up at Rocky Mountain High School, played at the University of North Carolina for a year, ended up being drafted in the first round by the Washington Nationals. So he's been on a few different major league squads since then, like you said, now getting to the White Sox. But for someone to come from a smaller area in Rocky Mount, again, no true major league team nearby. Yeah, plenty of minor league teams, but still made it through his way up. And then obviously we didn't really get a chance to talk to him about this. Played at UNC, where ACC baseball is a pretty big deal in these parts too.
Absolutely.
Obviously with UNC has a deep history. Virginia's won national championships. NC State, you know what happened with them this past summer. Duke has built their program up. You also look at the history of programs like Miami as well. ACC
Wake
baseball.
Forest.
Yeah, Wake Forest as well. That's right.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
they're always churning out some pros.
And that's really one of the cool things about even ACC baseball as well, is that football and basketball are the big two, but ACC baseball is popular around these parts. Anytime they have the ACC tournament in North Carolina, whether it's in Charlotte or the Durham Bulls, people turn out, man, and it's a blast.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's big time. I think the only thing that's missing from North Carolina is a major league team. So, if the Rays want to end up moving up here, if the, Toronto Blue Jays want to end up moving here, who knows? I mean, it could be the North Carolina. Well, I was going to say Cardinals, but no, we can't do that because St. Louis has it. Is that their state bird? Is that their state bird? Did they just take that from us?
I mean, Virginia state bird's a cardinal too, so I don't think we want to be associated with the state of Virginia.
Okay. Yeah, we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
Until then, while we're thinking about it, we're gonna go to a quick little break, and then on the other side, we'll have Brian Goodwin right here on the Culture State Podcast. Welcome to the Culture State Podcast, another episode. This time, this is our first MLB player, Dennis, that we've had on there, and his name is Brian Goodwin. So, Brian Goodwin currently with the White Sox organization. It's great to have you in and see you there. First off, did you ever make any stops in Winston-Salem for the Dash, or in Charlotte with the Knights at all before you got up to Chicago?
Not Winston-Salem, but I played in Greensboro
for the Grasshoppers
a while back. I played in Greensboro, and then I played in Charlotte actually this year, beginning of the year this year. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. I was wondering because I used to be in the Triad area, and I used to cover the Winston-Salem Dash. I knew they were a White Sox organization. So you with the Grasshoppers now. How was your time with the Grasshoppers?
I just played against them because so I came up with the Nationals.
Gotcha.
So all them teams I just saw like along the way. Them, Durham, the Bulls, and then the nights, I was just on the opposing side. But it was always love when I came home. So that was just like a home game for me. So I wasn't necessarily wearing the home team colors, but I looked at it as a home game for me.
Nice. So this Saturday, you're going to have a baseball clinic at your hometown, Rocky Mount, trying to give back to the kids and all that. Why is that so important for you to be able to do that, to take your time while you're in the off season and try to give back to the youngsters who may want to learn a little bit more about the game of baseball?
I don't know, man. I just think I just felt like it was really a necessity. And for the kids to be able to, for one, put a face with a name, and two, to just be in the same environment, share that same space, because I know how important it can be to, be around people, that you look up to, or that you have an appreciation for, somebody that's from your same hometown that's doing something that you feel like you might want to do. And I felt like that was a role that I could fulfill that, hadn't really been touched yet. So just to take a day or two or out of your schedule, out of your off season, and to be able to go back and touch ground and be back home, and with family and friends, I mean, it's kind of a win-win.
Was that something that was missing when you were a child, like having like some things in and around Rocky Mount to help kids, get better at baseball?
Most definitely. We had a lot of guys. I mean, I was fortunate because of all the instruction and all the people that helped me out with my situation and some of my friends and my teammates that I played with in the area. But as far as professionals and people that had been to the next level, people that you could watch on TV, it was few and far between. So. And that stuck with me as a kid, you know what I mean? That to this day, I still remember, who I saw and who I got a chance to converse with, who I got to learn from. And a lot of those guys, they made it to a certain level and they stopped. And they came back and, they gave back and donated their time. So, to be blessed to be able to take it to where I did, to me, it's a blessing to be able to give my time back and a no-brainer, but also to be able to be that professional player that people can see and relate to, and be able to, just fill that void.
Who were some of those professionals for you when you were younger?
Well, my next door neighbor, when I was coming up, was Greg Clark. He was a big name throughout like Wesleyan baseball, and he's in the Hall of Fame there. And then we had, Danny Talbot was one that played professional baseball where we're from. And then we just had, outside of that, we had a lot of just like college guys. One of my head coaches when I was growing up was Travis Ward. He had a brother that pitched in the big leagues for the Yankees. That we kind of got to hear about, but never really see. Yeah. So, like I said, the actual professionals in the MLB, they kind of were non-existent for us, for our childhood.
I want to ask you this too. Coming up as a young African-American kid, a lot of kids get steered towards NBA, NFL, those types of those sports. But you stuck with baseball, and there's not a lot of Black representation right now in baseball. Like, talk about that. And are you trying to use that to get more kids to be interested in baseball as well, and show that, hey, this is a cool sport. You can make something of yourself with it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I guess a good thing for us growing up is we really didn't have no basketball, football players, from where I'm from either. So, it was kind of just like an open situation. So now that I'm in that position, and that's the route that I ended up going now, because I love baseball and basketball probably just as much or more than baseball. I love football and basketball just more than I did baseball. So for me to end up taking that path and being here where I am today, um, and having the fun that I'm having and seeing the world, like I'm saying, and traveling, meeting the people that I'm meeting, like, how can you not love that? How can you not, um, gravitate towards that? I mean, I think it kind of speaks for itself. Um, the fun and the opportunity that comes along with the position. So I'd be crazy not to come back and speak on it and tell my story and be able to, give instruction to the next kid that might be headed down the same path or towards the NBA or NFL or, a doctor or a lawyer. I mean, wherever, but, I just want to put my story out there and hopefully inspire the next one, whoever that is.
Now, before we get into your personal journey, where is the clinic taking place? What time is it, and how can people sign up?
So the clinic is in Rocky Mount. It's at the new high school now, Rocky Mount High. It'll be at a baseball field I think we're starting at 11 o'clock.
Okay.
And you can sign up at briangoodwinclinic.eventbrite.com, I think it is. And register there. And I mean, the camp has grown every year we've done it. So we expect at least probably 100 kids there. We got food sponsored by Barley and Burger. We got equipment sponsored by Wilson, Trinity, Stilo Sports. We got some good guys helping out with the camp. All of my teammates and professional guys and guys I play with, they all be helping me out with the camp. And
Nice.
Just as long as you get registered, man, just show up and bring some energy with you, and you good.
I got the information right here. 9 to 1 Saturday, November 27th, Rocky Mount High School, of course. And what we can do also, we'll take this. If you're listening to this before the clinic and you're interested in it, we'll post this link to our Culture State Twitter account, so you guys can get there and get everything together and be able to be a part of it. The Brian Goodwin Clinic this weekend at Rocky Mount High School. Just moving forward, just growing up in the state of North Carolina, man, like, there's so many great athletes that come from so many different backgrounds that also play so many different sports. What was it like just kind of honing yourself and your skills just as a resident of North Carolina, and how important was your community to help raising you to who you are right now?
Oh man, I wouldn't be anywhere without my community. Like when they say that's like the most important, like it takes a village, like it really took, a lot of different hands, a lot of different voices, to be able to be in the position that I am today, man. I can't thank my community enough for the sacrifices and the opportunities they gave me and afforded me, just in my journey. I know I got some friends and stuff that can probably attest to that and say the same thing. Because we all really came from nothing, really. Being from Rocky Mount, such a small city, man. And I was just blessed to have that avenue of baseball. I had people willing to work with me. I had, my parents willing to take me, drive me all over the country and send me with friends and stuff to different tournaments when I could go. And, just understanding the sacrifice that all these people made, man, it really just pushed me to be able to, take this a little bit more seriously and really appreciate and take advantage of the opportunities. Because, I think I just understood like how important it was, what they were doing for me. And, I think I started seeing that it was paying off and that it could potentially be something. So it just made me work that much harder and want to go and get it, that much more.
Now, here in North Carolina, we don't have Major League Baseball. We have tons of minor league, and you've experienced playing at a lot of these locations. Was it hard for you as a young baseball player to just watch Major League Baseball and actually like fall in love with it in that sense? Because we can't really watch the Nationals, a team that drafted you in the first round. It's kind of hard to watch the Braves because we're kind of stuck in the middle. It's hard for us to watch it. So was it hard for you growing up to actually experience it?
No, so actually, like you remember, I don't know if you remember back in the day, with TBS, they used to show every Braves game there was.
That's true.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So and whenever baseball season was, if the Braves was playing the home game, it was on TV. So we got a chance to. So obviously I grew up a Braves fan. So you know, I'm not just on the bandwagon because they won it this year. But I definitely grew up a Braves fan. My whole family would watch the Braves and Chipper Jones, Larry Jones, Madison Smokes, and you know, all them guys like that. Like that's a whole dynasty you're talking about, you know, at that point in time in history. So that was easy to gravitate towards, I think. But when we was younger, all my friends, we loved to just load up the car and head down to the Mudcats and watch a game, and we would go to Kinston sometimes, watch games there. So it was hard to recognize the actual major leagues, like you said, but as far as professional baseball on the next level, like you couldn't tell us that wasn't professional baseball, as far as we're concerned. So we got to see it. That was our experience, and you know, obviously it ended up turning into something more real. But you know, just to be able to get down to go to those games and then get to grow up with the Braves on TBS, I think that's kind of where a little bit of that love for the game came from.
I remember the joke when I was a kid. TBS, it stood for the Brave Station for a lot of people. And then on your shirt, I see TMC, the marathon continues, and I know that's from Nipsey Hussle. Like, what does that mean to you and your journey as a baseball player as you're kind of continue on your marathon?
Well, for one, like the season's long as hell.
That's true. Y'all playing all year with like a 2-month break.
Yeah, like that's a marathon in itself. But then it's like you think about the differences between baseball and then other sports where you got the NBA where you might go to the D League, but you go from the D League basically to either overseas to the NBA. You got NFL where you basically go right into the playing, you know, on TV. The baseball is just somewhat different because you got the minor leagues, and it's not just one or two levels. Like it's a whole like ladder to the top, you know, so to speak. So it's just one of them things that you can relate to so well, and it embodies so much about life and just the grind and just how many different levels you got to go through just to get to where you want to be, man. And you know, I think he just said it best when he said the marathon continues. It's not really a sprint. It's just how long you can stay in the fight, stay in the race, and you know, overcome to get to where you want to be.
Absolutely.
You mentioned that ladder. How hard is it to climb that ladder in baseball?
It's tough, man. It's tough because, you know, people say it all the time. Like, you know, it's always somebody bigger, better, faster, stronger. Like, and that's the truth. And you know, the longer that you play, they gonna start becoming younger. And I mean, if you know how the sports world works, you know, once you start getting above 26, 27, I mean, you see it in baseball now all the time. Like, the faces of the game are 23, 24, 25 years old. So it's always somebody on your heels, man. So you always just got to be on your P's and Q's and crossing your T's and dotting your I's because, you know, somebody's coming for you to take your spot. And they don't care about your story, your situation, or what you've been through because everybody got a story. And they want to take your spot. So that makes it harder, and you know, it makes it to where you just got to realize, like, you know, you got one shot at it, so you better put your best foot forward.
So every time you see somebody like Wander Franco, you're like, oh God, I need to work harder.
Man, I'm telling you, I mean, you can just look at that organization, like the Rays. I mean, they did it the year before with Randy Rosarena. And he ended up being the rookie of the year this year. So it's like, man, they just, I mean, these kids, they coming, you know what I mean? They coming for you. And that's not a special case. Like them kids are everywhere. Tatis, you got Vlad Jr. You got all these young kids, man. You got Otani, you got people coming from Japan. I mean, it's so much competition out there, man. Like, you can't get caught up in your environment or like your region, because being the best there is just one obstacle. You got international, you got everything against you, man. So it's like you just gotta understand, like, when you think you at the top and you can't get no higher, like it's another level you gotta get to, and another obstacle you gotta surpass.
When it comes down to the entertainment in North Carolina, as far as like the entertainers who are from this area, are there any of the North Carolina rappers you're into? Lil Brother or Lute, anybody like that, the Baby, any of the North Carolina rappers you're into and you listen to because like, yeah, that reminds you of home a little bit?
Oh yeah. Mostly J. Cole, obviously.
Okay.
And then, like you said, the Baby, he's he really getting on me. He trying to keep himself out, but he on as much as possible.
Yeah, he's popular for some wrong reasons right now.
right. He stays relevant for sure, one way or another. But even dang, what's her name? Rhapsody. Even her from North Carolina. I mean, you got some good talents. And I listen to a lot of Southern music and stuff like that. So, but North Carolina specific, like definitely those three, probably my top.
Nice. Now, in baseball, there's such a blend of cultures because you mentioned people coming from overseas, maybe coming from Latin American countries, obviously from all different parts of the U.S. Is it fun to not only learn those cultures from your teammates, but also kind of teach them a little bit of what North Carolina is about?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, like, where I'm from, like, a lot of people don't speak Spanish, so like, you get to try to learn, try to be bilingual. I mean, I tried it for the first couple years of my career. It's still safe to say that I'm not. I'm not bilingual, but you know what I mean? Just getting to know them and getting to know where they from and getting to know like different food recipes, like different dishes and stuff they eat, man. Like they got some good food over there. Like, they can cook. I've been to Venezuela. I've been to Mexico for their winter ball league, so I got the experience, firsthand. Live over there and see how it was over there. Because for one, I was curious, and two, it's like it's a different game over there. Like they take a lot of pride in what they do. Not to say that we don't over here, but I mean it's just different. But yeah, I love it, man. And North Carolina, that's home. So I'm always happy to talk about that and tell them about where I'm from, and explain like how North Carolina is and where we from and what we do and how our barbecue is better than Texas and anybody else.
That's exactly what Dennis was about to ask you.
Have you shared them Eastern North Carolina barbecue? Have you shared with them Eastern North Carolina barbecue? Have you exposed your teammates to it?
Yeah, absolutely. I always tell them, like, because Texas try to claim it. Who else try to say they got better barbecue?
KC.
Yeah, Kansas City. Kansas City trying to say they got better barbecue. I'm like, man, like, if y'all think this is good, I'm gonna blow your mind when you come to North Carolina. Like, I mean, I just think we got the best of the best, man. So I let it be known. I let it be known that that's how I feel, and most of the time people agree with me. So um, we
As
got
they
that going
should.
for us. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what's up, man. Well, we're so glad that you are able to join us and represent North Carolina proudly. We're cheering for you, and hopefully you're out there much longer, into your 40s, even with the young 20-year-old kids coming up.
Yeah, I can't let them get me, man. I can't do it.
For sure. We appreciate it. And thank you for joining us here on the Culture State Podcast.
I appreciate y'all having me, man. I enjoyed it.
We want to thank Brian Goodwin for joining us. If you want to check out his third annual baseball clinic, it's going to be Saturday, November 27th from 9 to 1, Rocky Mount High School. And make sure you head on over to our Culture State Twitter page, and we'll send out this link so you guys can register and be a part of it if you're listening before this.
Absolutely.
But if it's after, then, look out for next year because, he wants to do this every single year. This is the third year. And so the fourth year will be next year in 2024. All right. So Dennis, there is a group of people called MLB Raleigh, and we're on their website right now, and they are making the push to try to get a team here to North Carolina. They have a few different concepts. I'm going to read out the concepts really quick. You can go to MLBRaleigh.com if you're listening to this to see these logos. There's some very interesting and creative logos and creative names. But there's 12 concepts here. The Raleigh Reapers, the North State Pine Brigade. That's very minor league sounding.
Yes. So does Reapers.
I mean, and that wasn't like a diss. Like, that sounds amazing.
No, I love minor league baseball names. We continue.
Yeah. Carolina Captains.
Okay.
The Oak City Owls. The Raleigh Rally Caps, which I don't like that because of the northern flair, because northern people call this place Raleigh.
Yeah.
The Raleigh Nobles. The North Carolina Harmony, the Raleigh Hounds, the Raleigh Q, the Raleigh Capitals, the Raleigh Revenge, and the Raleigh Oaks. The Carolina Captains, that's my favorite one.
Carolina Captains has a good name. I like the name Reapers because you have the Carolina Reaper pepper, which is like considered one of the hottest peppers out there. So I would maybe go with the Carolina Reapers. Maybe that could be a good tune to it. I like the idea of using Carolina as opposed to just Raleigh because it makes it bigger in that sense.
Yes.
We have the Carolina Hurricanes. We have the Carolina Panthers. Granted, they are in two completely different locations, but it still makes it bigger because it's still the state of North Carolina. Right. I definitely think tying in something that is regional to the state. Maybe it's the pits, like, because you have pit barbecue. I don't know. Maybe it's something along those lines. I do like the Raleigh Q because barbecue as well. So yeah, there are a lot of different ideas. Maybe the Carolina Reapers again plays off the pepper potentially, but I do like the Carolina Captains. I think is also a pretty good one too.
Yeah, those are some good ideas. I think we definitely need a team down here for sure. Yeah. This area is growing. And it's not just this area, it's also Charlotte. But, I think Charlotte is good with baseball and basketball. And if we could have hockey and baseball, that way you have, the teams kind of spread out throughout the state. I think it does more of a service if you have it like that. So that way there's traffic that can go between Raleigh and Charlotte versus, because I'm sure people from Charlotte would say, yeah, we've been to Knights games, but we like to go to a Carolina Captains game, and come up to Raleigh and experience Raleigh and that type of thing. And I think it kind of it'll help promote the two different locales. And I think that'll be a big thing for the state as well.
Yeah, I think as well. Yet of the four major pro sports leagues, you'll have the Charlotte Hornets and the Carolina Panthers in Charlotte. And if Major League Baseball were to come to the Raleigh area, you have hockey and baseball here in the Triangle. So yeah, like you said, it brings a lot of different elements to that. And then obviously MLS is coming to Charlotte as well. So there's so much growing.
Steve Malik still wants to bring it to Raleigh as well. So
yeah, exactly.
There's an outside chance in the future that happens too.
Yeah, I think he wants to try and promote NCFC up to that level. And obviously that there's a lot that comes with that. But I mean, you have professional women's soccer here in the Triangle with the NC Courage. So you get literally the best of all these sports are spread in different parts of the state. Now it is kind of hard because it is, almost about 2.5 hours between Raleigh and Charlotte. So that does make things a little bit harder in that regard because it's hard for us, for example, to get down to a Hornets game. So that does make things a little bit harder. But the fact that we can still call it Carolina or North Carolina professional sports and that is spread across the entire state, I think is really cool. Like, unlike, for example, New York, you have the New York Giants and the New York Jets, and they don't even play in the state of New York. They play in New Jersey, and then you have the Buffalo Bills, so it's like, okay, what about those people in Utica? Where do they go?
Yeah.
But no one cares about them because we're all about North Carolina
here. We were talking about this too. If the baseball team does come to Raleigh, like where do you put it? Where do you put the stadium?
That's an entirely different conversation. There's a lot that has to go into that. The infrastructure has got to change.
Yeah, but I will say though that the area is working on. They're working on light rail. Fast, travel through the area, which is going to be huge. Of course, 540 is going to be completed and go all the way around here coming up in the next couple of years. They're working on I-87 and all this other. So, I mean, there's so many different things, and they're trying to get the highways and everything together here, along with Apple and Google and all these big time corporations that are coming here. I mean, we're going to need, more outside of the hurricanes to keep people here and to keep people excited about being in this area.
And also one thing that for all those out there who may come to North Carolina, don't realize this. You could take the train all the way from Charlotte to Raleigh, and obviously going all the way back. It's got stops in Cary, Durham, Kannapolis, like Salisbury, like all these different places. Also spots in the Triad as well. So if you ever want to get to one of these minor league parks, hop on the train. I guarantee you. I've done it. I've gone from Raleigh to Charlotte for an AEW wrestling event. Took the train back the next day. It was the best. And all these different stops, like, man, there's different ways. If you don't want to drive, you can get all across the parts of the state.
Yep. Do not drive 7 hours to DC.
No. Okay. By the way, we're recording this at like noon or almost 1 o'clock in the afternoon when the time we're recording this. So yeah, you look and you say 4 hours to DC. Well, it's because traffic hasn't started yet. Trust me. If you were to leave right now, it's going to take you more than 4 hours to get to DC. I guarantee you that. Guaranteed. It's a park.
It's not going to take 7 though. Won't take 7.
You get.
How many stops did you make for it to take 7? It didn't take 7 when I lived in Greensboro.
Well, you probably took a different route. You probably went up 29 through Central Virginia.
I took 85 through Raleigh-Durham area. Through Durham, I should say. 85 through Durham.
Yeah, 85 doesn't go through Raleigh, Chris.
Yeah, you're right.
Like
you're
how
right.
40 doesn't go through Winston-Salem.
No, 40 does go through Winston-Salem. You're talking about 85.
No, I mean 85 doesn't go through Winston-Salem. Yeah. You have 2 40s. You have business 40 and regular I-40 in Winston-Salem.
I usually take 85 because it's a lot faster than 29. I think 29, once you get past Danville, I don't want to.
Yeah, you got to drive through Charlottesville and stuff like that. You don't want to mess with that.
And he's qualified to talk about that. I'm not talking about Charlottesville. So thank you guys for listening. Hopefully we do get some baseball coming to North Carolina on a major league level.
Yeah.
But we already have plenty of minor league teams here. So make sure you go out and you support. If you go see minor league, if you went to Bulls games, you probably saw somebody that we mentioned in the podcast, Wander Franco, playing for the Durham Bulls. Like I said, Derek Jeter played in Greensboro back in the day. There's so many different people that have stopped through the state of North Carolina. So you never know that you'll see future stars.
David Price pitched for the Bulls.
You know what I'm saying?
Blake Snell, who was pitching in the World Series a couple years ago, played for the Bulls.
He's with the Padres now, right?
Yeah, I think he is now. It's so fun.
Yeah.
So much fun.
So make sure you do that, especially when the summer rolls around. It's always a good time. We have to, first off, there is a Foothills bar in left outfield at the Winston-Salem Dash. We have to go out there and experience that together. Hopefully we can catch a home run with a beer in our hand. You can have your Amber Ale, and I can have my IPA. You know what I'm saying?
All for it.
Thank you guys for watching and listening to the Culture State Podcast. If you are watching on YouTube, thank you so much. If you're listening, thank you so much. 5 stars, please, if you're on Apple Podcast. And make sure you follow us at Chris Lee TV, at The Fan Rookie, and at Culture State Pod, Twitter and Instagram.
And also, if you ever do sit down and watch some minor league baseball or even Major League Baseball at home, make sure on Tuesdays you swing by Papa Murphy's. Get yourself a large pizza for just $10.99. Give them a follow on Twitter and Instagram at Papa Murphy's. Papa Murphy's, changed the way you pizza.
Peace.
The Culture State Podcast, part of the Capital Broadcasting Podcast Network, with new shows coming out every Wednesday. Download and subscribe from wherever you get your podcasts, including the WRAL Sports Fan app.